The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. Our show contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself. Welcome to the Queens of Spice podcast. I'm here with my two BFFs, Ash and Jack.
Hi. Hi.
And today we're talking about Neon Gods.
Daddy.
Oh, shush. So Neon Gods, written by our patron queen of spice, Katee Robert, of course. Book 1 of the Dark Olympus series. So Ash made me, this is one of the first Katee Robert books I think I ever read. I think.
This was, okay, so this came after you read, was it before or after you read the other Hades and Persephone one?
It was after. Because what's it called? Touch of Darkness. Touch of Darkness.
Yeah, because so I got you to read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then you're like, yeah, so good. And then you started reading Heart of Darkness. No, not Heart of Darkness.
My rivets.
No, and then I was like, oh no, you should read this one instead. And
yes, read this other Hades and Persephone book.
Yeah, because I knew that it had all of the things.
Yes.
All of the things that you would like.
So on that note, this book focuses on Hades and Persephone. A societal darling, Persephone, I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. I love this. Demetrio. Plans to flee the ultra-modern city of Olympus and start over, far from the backstabbing politics of the 13 houses. We'll get into that, Jack, just in case you're lost. But all of it is...
No, I'm right here.
But all of it is ripped away when her mother ambushes her with an engagement to Zeus, the dangerous power behind the glittering city's dark facade. With no option left, Persephone flees to the forbidden undercity and makes the devil's bargain with a man she once believed a myth. A man who awakens her to a world she never knew existed. Hades has spent his life in the shadows, and he has no intention of stepping into the light. But when he finds that Persephone can offer a little slice of revenge that he's spent years craving, it's the only excuse he needs to help her for a price. Yet, every breathless night spent tangled together has given Hades a taste for Persephone, and he'll go to war with Olympus itself to keep her close.
What?
So Jack, are you familiar with like the lore behind Hades and Persephone?
Hey, are we gonna take a shot?
Yeah, I got a little exaggerated there, didn't I? Yeah, let's take a shot.
And then Jacqueline can tell us how much she doesn't know about Hades and Persephone.
So Ash, what are we shooting today?
It's shooting star, raspberry, blue, curacao, and lemon. I'm not sure if it means lemon liqueur or like just lemon.
I think it's just lemon flavor. It's supposed to be a porn star.
Yeah, essentially I think it's supposed to be a porn star.
But as the lady at the liquor store told us, they're not allowed to put that on the packaging.
Hometown Spirits Inc. from Nova Scotia. You said it was from Middle Sackville?
Middle Sackville represent.
I mean, I don't know what they're representing, but...
Lower and upper Sackville.
Okay, let's just do this thing.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That tastes like my early 20s.
That had like, you know that weird after flavor you get when you eat rockets?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that weird powdery kind of flavor.
That's fucking nasty.
That's
It's
not
not
a
great.
porn star.
That is not a porn
That's
star.
not a porn star at all.
Huh.
I mean, it's
Screw
purple.
you, man.
I like the color.
Purple's a great color.
I mean, it matches the book we're doing.
Purple's a fruit.
Purple's a what?
I think grape's a fruit.
Anyway, so Jacqueline, what do you know about Hades and Persephone?
I know that Hades is the god of the underworld.
Nailed it.
And he has like that super fun hairdo in something.
Hercules.
Hercules, okay.
He's
It's
got like on fire hair.
Flaming blue, yeah, super pretty. I don't know who the fuck Persephone is though.
He's done by James Wood.
Oh, don't ask me to.
Why is that where my head goes?
To Wood?
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Persephone's Demeter's daughter. She's kind of the reason that we have the change between spring and winter. She gets, in the lore, she gets trapped in the underworld and ends up eating pomegranates, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per the original. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, not in the book, but like that's kind of the story behind the Greek myth.
lore.
Yeah, and so she kind of gets trapped. So she's in the underworld for 6 months, and then she's on the earth for another 6 months, and that's why we have the transition from winter to spring, because she is the goddess of spring.
Yeah. So in this book, the Dark Olympus series, you guys, I'm so distracted. You guys are like eating popsicles, and they're very phallic looking.
Why'd you got something in your mouth there, Jack?
What?
What? So Rachel, why'd you like this book so much? Do you want to talk about that? You want to share some feelings? Because I remember the feelings you shared with our group chat, which you said you were not going to elaborate on, and then you elaborated on.
I think I have a note here that I think defines what I wanted to say.
The puppies note?
Ooh, close. No. It was definitely close to the puppies, though. Hades' brand of consent is the hottest thing ever. I think that's where I sum it up.
Where did you... Oh, right there.
Yeah, there it is. There's
What?
the note.
What do you mean? Explain. Tell me everything.
His particular brand of consent is the hottest thing ever.
What's his particular brand of consent?
Aggressive consent. Aggressively hot consent.
Consent is sexy.
Yeah, incredibly hot.
He's consenting?
No, he's asking for consent.
Oh,
in a
He's
very...
like, do you want the tea?
Yeah, he's like,
He's
hey,
very concerned whether or not you want the tea.
But he really wants you to want the tea?
and I really want the tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like the tea.
Yeah,
okay.
the tea is wonderful.
Is the tea the D in this case?
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Amongst other
then,
things.
You know, other people get nailed. So it works out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's do some world building about this series. This is like kind of a modern Olympus take, but like it's very political. It's very like all the crap that happens behind the scenes is like shady as all get out. Everyone's got deals with everyone else. There are the 13, which you mentioned at the top of the podcast. The 13 who run the city, basically. So the 3 at the top, which are always traditionally, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Those are all, in this case, legacy titles.
So you have to be born into it.
So you're born into it. It's hereditary. Like you inherit it from your parents. And then there are the voted or elected positions.
And what I really like about this, like the dynamic in this series as a whole, is that not all positions get their position based on the same criteria. Like Aphrodite is voted, where Ares has the thing where they have to fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything kind of comes differently.
So in this case, we have Athena, Dionysus,
Hermes,
Artemis, Apollo, Aphrodite, and Hephaestus are voted in, and then Ares is awarded as a title when you win the I guess what is it? It's like a championship kind of thing.
Well, like, and Demeter is voted in by the people, where Aphrodite is promoted by the previous Aphrodite. Like there's a different system for all of them, which I find really kind of interesting. It was an interesting take, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean to that point, the third book, which is called Wicked Beauty in the series, that follows the spoilers. That follows it follows Helen, Patroclus, and Achilles, and their quest in kind of getting the Ares title,
and boning a lot.
Oh my god, there's so much boning in that book. That book's
I
wonderful.
never knew threesomes could be sweet.
Yeah.
That is the thing. But anyway, that's not in this book. That's in the other book, which you should also read.
The look on Jack's face. Okay, so book 2 in this series is called Electric Idol, and that features Psyche and Eros, and that book is woof.
Okay, I know you have a special place in your heart for Hades, but Eros for me was like, who doesn't love an assassin with wife guy energy?
Oh my god, that book! I will say, like, I really enjoyed Neon Gods. It's a great book, great dynamic, and then I read Electric Idols, and I'm like, shit, I think I like this book more. We are covering Neon Gods because it's the first in the series, so we wanted to like kind of make sense of that first. But I will say, Electric Idol, worth your time every time.
And Wicked Beauty.
Wicked Beauty's wonderful.
Yeah,
like,
they're all. I mean, they're all. I mean, as complex as the world system kind of is, but kind of isn't at the same time. It's like, I don't know. I find it interesting. It's a different take on a story, because like Hades and Persephone stories have been done over and over and over.
And it's very interesting too, because like I said, I read another Hades Persephone book and then got into this, and then also we both read
Lore Olympus.
We both read Lore Olympus, which is
Which
also
is
Hades and
adorable.
Persephone, and that is an adorable take on
Yeah.
on Hades and Persephone. And so like I'm oversaturated with Hades and Persephone lore at this point. But I still keep going back to it because it is such like in the romance kind of narrative for books. It's such a hard done like story.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not like those are just books that are stories that have the Hades and Persephone characters. That's not
right.
just books that have like the Harry Persephone, the Hades and Persephone dynamic in them, which is a whole other thing. And it's almost like Beauty and the Beast-esque, and it's like there's a lot of like kind of overlap because it's like big cranky and like cute and happy and like.
I mean, it's a very Grumpy Sunshine kind of dynamic.
Did you write that down?
I didn't. I don't think I
You
did.
didn't write Grumpy Sunshine.
I don't know why I didn't write that down. I was too focused on the fake relationship, the forced proximity, and the public sex. I'm sorry, and the BDSM.
Public sex, what?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a big part of this book.
Okay, so where do we even start with this? So Hades. So Persephone, as mentioned in the summary, wants to leave Olympus. She gets her mother basically sells her off to Zeus.
But she wants to leave before
She does.
that even happens.
Correct.
That just makes it even worse.
Yes, this is like the catalyst for her. Like, I'm out of here. Bye. And so she kind of through Psyche, who's her sister.
There's 4 of them.
Yes,
4 sisters.
There's 4 sisters. In this case, Psyche, she's at a party with Persephone, and kind of like covers for her to leave the party after Zeus proposes, or sorry, they announce their marriage basically.
Well, and a big part of it is too is like when we're talking about the roles, Hera's role is titled because she's married to Zeus.
Correct. So the only way you can be Hera is if you're married to Zeus.
So Persephone doesn't want to be the new Hera, and Zeus has a tendency to rut-row his wives, like allegedly unalive them.
I might have put in my notes that on 3 such occasions, he has been allegedly accused of offing his wives, and so Hera is almost a death sentence in this case.
Yeah,
and so
sorry, but she's supposed to marry
Zeus,
the guy who unalives people.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I thought she was supposed to marry Hades.
Okay, so here's the thing: Hades in this instance, in this world, is a myth.
They think he's dead.
Yeah. So So Hades is an hereditary title. So his father, in this case, the previous Hades, was killed by Zeus.
Yeah.
And then there was
a fire.
There was a fire. Both his parents passed away, and he was like, gosh, he was so young at the time. He was like 6 or 7. Like he was quite young.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and he has scars on his back from it and stuff like that. And so he ended up like being raised by Andreas. Is the butler Andreas? Anyway, he's basically raised by the butler, or the equivalent.
Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hades.
Kinda.
Hades is Batman.
Instead of a bat cave, he has a sex room.
He has a mansion, and there's a sex room in the basement.
Well, yeah, like Batman has a mansion, and underneath the mansion, he has a bat cave. Hades has a mansion, and within his mansion, he has a sex club of sorts.
I think Batman probably also has a sex club or dungeon.
I love this analogy.
I mean, I could totally see Bruce Wayne having a sex dungeon.
I would be into Batman if he had a sex dungeon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Although the last time I watched anything to do with Batman, he had a room in his basement that was just dedicated to taking out the rest of the group of dudes. Is animated. I don't know what it was. He had like a closet full of kryptonite or some shit.
The Justice League?
Yeah, the Justice League.
I was thinking like Michael Keaton, where he would like do his sit-ups upside down, or like his, I don't know. And I just remember that first Batman movie, Michael Keaton being upside down by his ankles.
Did that really do it for you?
I mean, I was like 10, so I can't say for certain how.
Is that when you started being a furry?
What does that have anything to do with furries?
He's a bat. He's a man. He's a man bat.
I would argue that Batman is like the furthest thing from an actual furry. Now, Atlas from the Cupcake book, yeah, 100%. Batman,
He's
no.
a wolf, and that's a whole different ballgame.
He's got fur. Batman doesn't have fur.
He might.
Why are we talking about furries? This has nothing to do with the book.
So,
Let's put Ashton out there as a furry and everything else, and then roll over her a bunch of times. Make sure everybody knows that she's a freak. Because I am.
Listen, this is a safe place.
We don't judge anybody.
We don't judge anyone. We're all furries here. Jack, are you?
I'm not a furry. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
She says as she hides the mascot costume in the bedroom upstairs. I'm not the furry, but my husband is.
Oh gosh.
I married a furry.
Oops, I married a furry.
That's gonna be a book out there, right? I'm sure I could find it if there was.
Probably on MTV.
It's Furry Cribs.
Oh my god. Pimp my
Real,
furry ride.
real world furry edition.
Pimp my fursuit.
Oh, yeah. This one's gonna vibrate butt plug, guys.
Hell yeah. Okay. Let's take it back for a second.
I'm sorry for mentioning Batman,
No,
guys.
thank you. I have.
I don't think it was Batman. I think it was the furries. Made us derail quickly.
Okay, so Hades basically doesn't exist. His line was killed out. There's no new Hades. That's basically what the understanding is of the upper city of Olympus. It's kind of, and like I said, it's kind of divided into like an upper city and lower city. The lower city is like the underworld basically, and the upper city is Olympus proper.
So they didn't know that there was like a 6 or 7-year-old little boy that survived.
Correct.
Or whatever. Okay.
So it's known to the upper city that everyone died in that, like the whole family died in that war. And then and so they end up being a myth. And so when you go to the tower where Zeus resides and they have parties and stuff there's a garden that has all of the statues of the gods, and Hades is covered over in a black sheet.
And then there's the whole fact that like to get across the like from the upper city to the lower city, you have to cross a bridge. But there's this kind of like magic of sorts.
So like basically the entire kind of book series, etc. It's not super like magic heavy, except there's like these instances where things just are.
Yeah.
And like so you can't cross any of the bridges into the underworld or into Hades realm. Unless you are invited. And so if you have an invitation, because like Dionysus and Hermes, who anyway we'll get into them in a bit.
They don't always have invitations. They just go wherever.
They kind of have a running invitation because Hermes especially
Is the messenger.
is the messenger and has like it just has an in with everybody.
Yeah.
Because they have to.
I love Dionysus's character.
Oh my
In the audiobook, the guy, like, his voice is always, like, super high sounding. Like, yeah, and it's just...
That's exactly how I picture him, too. That's perfect.
And it's just delightful. And Hades' voice is, like, deep and rumbly, and I'm like, sir, if you could read into my ears some more, that would be delightful.
Yeah, like, the description of Hades, too, is, like, he's bearded, he's dark hair, he's got tattoos, he's, like, buff. He's
just so we're all 1,000% clear, Rachel just described her ideal man.
He's into BDSM.
He's got some trauma.
Oh man, love a man with trauma.
Yeah. Bisexual trauma.
Yeah, actually.
And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, because it is. Like, actually, some of his trauma cycles around a relationship he had with a man, didn't it?
I believe so, because I have a side in here that both he and Persephone have had same-sex relationships too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's a whole thing. But I think
I will say I feel like in Katee Robert books, you just assume that everyone is open to everything.
I am pretty sure I saw a TikTok where she actually stated that. Like, just assume that everybody's into everything.
Yeah.
That's
I do. Walking into these series, I'm like, I always assume that everyone's going to be a little bit on the pan side.
Yes.
Or if they're like,
do you know what pan is, Jacqueline?
Ish.
Not things that you cook cookies on.
Then no.
I have used pans.
So, I mean, pansexual is basically like an open-ended
right. It's
sexual
like
preference.
you're into like
Everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people use
Regardless of like
of gender
or
bits or anything.
sexuality
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use bisexual and pansexual kind of interchanging, but with in more like modern terms, pansexual would probably be I think more inclusive to use, because like bisexual means you're into men and women, as opposed to pansexual is like but there's non-binary people too.
I always read pansexuality as like an attraction to the person as a whole, opposed to being attracted to the physical side of it.
Makes sense.
That's a component of it, but it's always like I'm attracted to this person because of who this person is versus all of the extra things. But I mean, I could be wrong, because like I'm wrong a lot, but
I mean, but I think that encompasses what pansexuality is in like
Jack
it
Harkness.
doesn't really matter what you're toting around as a gender.
Yeah.
Like you're into it.
I always think of Jack Harkness, which is like, it was like, didn't matter,
I don't care what planet you're from.
Yeah, doesn't matter what color, whatever species. I think you're awesome. So he's who I think about whenever I think about pansexuality.
He will put his PP into anything.
I mean, he'd probably let anything put their PP in them.
Yeah,
him too,
same.
so.
Good point.
Yeah, good point.
And also, I want to say Dionysus in this is asexual.
Yeah, he's
that was the vibe I got. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also put in my notes that Hermes could be tapping that potentially.
I don't know, because they just seem to have a thing. Like,
They definitely do.
and well, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. The whole ace thing is not something you see a lot, especially in novels that are dedicated to things that are a little on the spicier side. Because, spicy books are meant to be written for the sexy times for the most part. So,
And I mean, and that's the thing. Asexuality is a spectrum.
yeah.
So, like, because
Hands
we
down.
talked about demisexuals before, where it's like, I mean, a good one was Ali Hazelwood wrote Olive and Adam as
Yeah.
Life Hypothesis.
Yeah, and it wasn't outright stated that that's what was the case, but that was the vibe.
That was 100% the vibe that they were both demisexual. So, like,
Yeah.
it's very much a thing that it comes up in romance novels. And I think it's like, I usually like reading it a lot because it's almost like a fated mate thing in for like normal human standards, where it's like there's one person in the world for you and you have that attraction to them and they're the only person that does it for you.
Yeah, and see, this is kind of one of the really big things that I love about like reading books in general is like things have evolved so drastically that there are things about my personality, things about my identity, things about like different things that I'm like, I've always thought this way, but I've never known why. And it's like, oh my God, demisexuality makes so much more sense. And even still, even though I know it's a thing and I don't always 100% understand things, like I still like that resonates with me in a way that it's like, yeah.
This is the thing. Millennials like to put ourselves in boxes. And I feel like for a lot of our youth, and especially in their 20s, like there were no boxes to put ourselves in. But now the Gen Z kids are like, hey, here's a bunch of boxes. Pick one. Like, do whatever. And
even,
jump around from box to box. Doesn't matter.
And then there's the point that, like, I feel like right now it's like, why do we need boxes?
Yeah.
We should just be,
you
know
do
what I
whatever
mean?
you
So
want.
there's this whole thing. We've talked about it time and time again about how reading gives you an opportunity to discover things about yourself or
We were just talking
things about the furry thing.
about the masks.
Yeah, the masks. Exactly.
My name is Rachel, and I might have a mask kink.
And by might, she means.
Oh, God, I learned things about
What
myself.
kind of masks? Like hospital masks or like the Scream?
Yeah.
What?
I just finished reading a book called Scream for Us,
Okay.
which, obviously, listen, it's trash, 100%. If you want to read it, go read it, obviously. But, like, we're here for a good time. It's not a long time. It's a novella. It's Halloween based. Anyway.
I loved how you were like, oh, they have names in this one. But the second one, I was like, did they not have names in the first one?
Right, because there is a sequel to that, which is Melt for Us, which is a Christmas book.
Yeah.
Or a holiday book. And in the first one, the Halloween book, Scream for Us, they just use their names of the masks they're wearing. So, like, there's Ghost and Michael and...
Jason? I don't know.
Is it Jason?
I don't know. I didn't read the book. I read the second one, but I didn't pay too much attention because it was just...
Mr. Hellraiser Man, sir?
No, it wasn't Pinhead.
Okay.
Could you imagine?
Yes.
Anyway.
And I was also citing my favorite band on planet Earth, which is Ghost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every time I see them out of their masks, I'm like, gross.
Okay.
But then I see them in their masks, I'm like, that does it for me.
I have a question
Always.
about the mask thing.
Mm-hmm. I'll try.
Because I'm quite interested. Is it the mask or is it the fact that you're unsure of the person behind the mask?
Oh, the anonymity.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's the anonymity of it.
So,
because I also know that I'm into a little bit of CNC. So, like, that kind of ties in with that, I think.
Oh, listen.
what's that?
It's consensual non-consent.
So that's like, you can pretend to rape me, but
we're in consent that's okay.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from that,
There's
however,
none of that in this book.
there is not. No.
Womp,
So
womp.
what is in this book, though? So Persephone ends up fleeing Olympus.
Yes.
She crosses the bridge. She runs across the bridge without shoes on, and she like cuts her feet up and everything.
How? She
And
wasn't
on the-
invited.
So
It describes it like feeling the pull of the magic. Like we'll call it magic because I
it
don't know
is.
what to
It's
call
basically magic.
it.
Yeah.
So like as she's crossing the bridge, it describes like the pull that she feels. And there's a man standing on the bank, and he's like come to me kind of thing, and she has no idea
But
who he is.
he doesn't invite her though, because that's the trick, is that he does not coerce her or invite her over at all.
Yes.
It's her own choice.
He can't.
He's not allowed.
He's not allowed to. That's a big part of it.
And that other person's Hades, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
He likes puppies.
I know you said that he's like dark and bearded, but I'm still picturing the dude with the flaming blue hair.
Which is amazing.
I love that for you. Thank you. Anyway, so there's a guy with this blue flamey hair standing on the other side. He's got a robes and he's a little like, flamboyant. And we love him. Oh, it's been a minute since I've watched that. And then he kind of like takes her in, and she finds out who he is because he's not supposed to exist.
Right.
So this is kind of a shell shock for her.
Yes.
But she is always, as Psyche states as well, she's always had this like kind of like morbid curiosity about Hades in general, like the legacy title of Hades.
And she real curious about him now.
And now she's incredibly curious about him because he hot as fuck.
How big his penis?
He has a ginormous penis, which I mean, this is
It's a fictional
it's a
story.
fictional
of course,
fantasy
a
book.
giant penis.
accurate. Everyone always has a giant penis, and they know
Nobody
how to use it.
fantasizes about moderate sized dicks.
Nobody fantasizes about average sized penises.
Averages. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
To my husband that is apparently not listening to our podcast. Is that what you're basically
Yeah, we're
saying?
gonna call him out real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she ran across the bridge, and there was like the magic holding her, but then she gets there because she's being chased by Hades's.
No, Zeus's
She's being chased by Zeus's
henchmen dudes.
goons, and they essentially like chase her over.
Now, obviously, they can't prove any of that because that would be very bad.
Oh yeah, but we were talking about how he has a sex room, like Bruce Wayne apparently.
Like Bruce Wayne, he's got a sex room in his basement. And blah 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 blah. All this stuff goes on. They
That's
get
my new
introduced.
canon, by the way. My new head canon is that Bruce Wayne
Has a
has
sex room.
room.
If the Joker gets to have a sex dungeon, then Batman gets to have one too.
In what comic book or movie does the Joker have a sex dungeon?
Could you please cite your sources so I can read that?
You didn't see the credits like in the Heath Ledger one?
What? Go on.
Like after the credits, his sex. Are you serious?
I
I
think
have-
she's
I have
making this
questions.
up. I can't tell if she's serious or not.
Jack's always serious.
God, it's like totally a sex dungeon in the after. Ask my husband, whose name we shall not speak, when he gets home from some movie he's gone to.
Well, I know that there's a porn that like it kind of goes off the Killing Joke.
Well, of course there is. There always
Yeah.
is. It's the
Not the
rule,
killing
rule
joke.
34. If
Yes.
it exists, there's porn of it.
And actually, the Joker in that porn is really well done because he's not like large. Actually, he's not large, but it's also an anal scene. But he's like fucking Batgirl in the ass. He's going fuck, 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 fuck. Anyway, it's good.
Sounds like a penguin.
Nope. Rachel said we couldn't do it.
Oh,
We're not talking about penguin. What's it called? Fairy Daddy?
Fairy Daddy.
Fairy Daddy is coming.
Penguin.
Fairy Daddy's is coming down the pipe.
When does she find out about the sex room though? Because they have some like hot and heavy flirty stuff, right?
Yeah, so they make up okay. So this is where the fake relationship thing comes into. So they come up with this plan to really get Zeus back because she's like trying to escape, and then Hades is like in this position where he's always wanted to take Zeus out.
Yes.
Because of what he did to his parents, obviously. Yeah. And so they make up this pact of like a fake relationship, and in order to make it public and to
haven't
make it
heard that one before.
so they have to make it very public and very out there so that everyone knows they're in a relationship. And especially for Persephone, she wants to make herself kind of look like damaged goods
Oh yeah, so that Zeus won't want her.
so that Zeus won't want her.
Because that's a whole thing too, where she dated mostly females up until that point, hadn't she?
She had a couple relationships, but I mean, the thing is her persona out in the world, because she has a very like tailored persona of how she looks in public. Because the three daughters.
4.
Is there 4?
Eurydice, Callisto,
Oh yes, you're right.
Psyche, and
Persephone.
Persephone. Because Eurydice is the sweet and innocent one. Is it Callisto or is it Calypso? Callisto. Callisto's the crazy. Callisto's like the dark and crazy one.
Yeah, the next book is about her. The book 4, I should say, is about her.
Is it?
It is, because she ends up being
She's Hera.
Hera. And
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoilers. So, because there's, I believe, don't quote me on this, I think the next book is about her and Zeus, and it's a fake relationship.
No.
I think it is.
Another fake relationship?
It might be. No, I know she was talking about doing one with
Is that a trope?
Poseidon. I thought the next one had Apollo.
It might have. But that was one of the books I think I read about that she's writing.
Yeah. So, but when did she find out about the sex dungeon?
Okay, so.
When she saw the Heath Ledger Batman movie.
That's when she got interested in sex dungeons.
Off the rails.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so she finds out about the sex dungeon after they make the pact to have a fake relationship.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, we got to put this out in the world.
Oh, right. Because it means that she's going to make an appearance in the sex dungeon thing.
And make it look like she's kind of damaged goods. By, you know.
Yeah.
So they have a night in the sex dungeon. The dungeon is filled with, again, they're like all the people up at the upper city don't know about the lower city. And it's like, yeah, they do. Everyone in power at the top in the upper city knows exactly what's going on in the undercity all the time. They have spies going back and forth. And so like a bunch of these people in this like sex dungeon place are from the upper city, but they wear masks and masquerade around so that you can't tell who they are.
Oh, yeah, because that's where you get introduced to Eros.
Yes.
And that's where you get really turned on because you don't know who they are.
There's that.
If you're Rachel.
Obviously, in this instance, though, you know exactly who Hades is because he's sitting on a goddamn throne, and with Persephone on his lap, and they kind of do some naughty things.
Some naughty thing.
Well, Hades does some naughty things to Persephone, I should say.
But they have that like demo thing at the beginning. Like he kind of does that run through with her first, right? That like before.
Yeah, he takes her downstairs to the sex dungeon to give her like kind of a give her a once over, as it were.
Introduce her to the
right, because originally the plan was that he was going to have a scene with her, like on stage in the middle of the sex dungeon.
Yeah,
and then last minute she was kind of like, I'm not feeling that. That's kind of like, so it's like basically public sex. They would be doing it in front of an audience. They would be like he would be doming her in this instance, and she just like wasn't super cool with that. So they ended up changing their plans.
Yeah,
and so there was another scene going on, which Katee obviously describes as it's happening.
Let me guess, I'm going to read that later.
No, I got a better one for you.
Oh, great.
And so, that whole thing takes place, obviously gets back to Zeus, what's going on. And there's like, they throw like threats back and forth. He calls him and stuff like this. They have a Zoom call at one point.
And
Are you serious?
Yeah, they use Zoom. Isn't that crazy?
I don't know if you're joking or not.
I don't
About
know.
the
Are
Zoom
you
call?
joking about the Joker sex dungeon?
What? No. What about the Zoom call? That's real?
At some point, there's it's further on in the book. Hades has a Zoom call with all of the 13 or
Yeah.
the 12, I guess, because we keep saying 13 because we're referring to the council, but there's only 12 of them right now.
There's
Because
11 because Hera.
because Hera doesn't exist.
And then Hades. On
Well,
the
Hades
side.
would be number 12. Yeah. So the council basically like gets on a call with Hades over Zoom. And Persephone, like, they're all fighting, be like, you're holding Persephone against her will, blah, blah, blah. And there's no way she wants you. And Persephone rolls right up into she gets out of bed after the post-coital bliss and, like, throws her head and she's like, I'm here of my own volition and you can all fuck off. And then closes the laptop.
Yep.
It's
It
wonderful.
happened.
Like, there's really a laptop in this
Yeah.
book?
Okay.
That's
so,
about Greek gods and goddesses.
So this is a very modern book. So, okay, how can I phrase this? So,
It's a modern city. Like, it's like
yeah, it's a proper city.
Gotham City.
So is it like downtown and uptown? Or do they actually live underground?
No. It's actually a city. So it's a city. It's almost like a peninsula that's like divided away from the.
It's like Halifax and Dartmouth.
It's very much like Halifax and Dartmouth, except there's 3 bridges instead of 2, and you have to ask to cross them. The commute would be deadly.
I mean, you kind of have to ask to get across the one.
You need to have a Mac pass to get across the bridge.
And you need
Okay.
to know when the bridges are even open.
Oh man, it's such a.
But yeah, no, it's like 2, and then there's like magic all around the upper and lower city too, so that people from outside can't get in unless they're like go through Poseidon, I think.
Correct. So
AKA customs.
yes, exactly. No, basically,
AKA customs.
because in the 3rd book, in Wicked Beauty, they have that tournament that people come in from outside
Yeah.
in order to participate in that tournament. And
Like the World Cup in Harry Potter.
not
the World Cup.
Similar, I guess. Right. So they do bring people in.
Yes.
And so like, but realistically they are kind of cut off from the outside unless like you have a good reason to be, which is why Persephone is trying to run away, because in order to actually leave the city proper, like she needs to be set up with like money.
And a passport.
And a passport. Yeah, and I should go back and mention this. The reason she can't flee just yet is because at 25, I think, her trust fund gets released.
Yeah.
And she has money at that point, so she can pay to bribe someone to get her out of the city.
Another part of this whole thing too, which kind of applies to what Rachel's talking about, is Hercules is one of Zeus's sons. He's escaped. Or not escaped. He's left.
He left, yes.
And there's a whole thing between like Hades and Zeus about Hercules leaving, wasn't there? I think in the books something happens with Hercules, and that's kind of the big impetus as to why Zeus tries to burn the house down, is because the father was responsible for something with
I
Hercules.
feel like they don't bring that up.
Or it was something to do with like the reason that one of his sons is dead, but his son isn't actually dead. He actually left or something. There was something to do with that.
I feel like that was some subtext going on. Like it was, I don't think that was a big
Or
feature.
Ashton just dreamt up that entire subplot on her own.
Hey, remember when I said there was same-sex centaurs in that book? There was absolutely not same-sex centaurs in that book. I went back and reread Muscles Monsters. I made that up. 100%.
I was like, what are you talking
Oh my
about now?
God! Didn't we have
We had a whole
lengthy
conversation about it too.
conversation
I
about-
made that up, fabricated completely.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
So all my questions were not in vain, really.
Your questions were excellent. I always appreciate your questions.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's because I'm dumb.
It's good to have it.
It's because I don't read the porny books.
It's because I don't read the porny books. I just listen to y'all talk about them.
What you have to realize is that sometimes we lose track of what we're reading. Like, because Ashton and I are speaking the same language, and you're just like, what? Is he actually a fox? No, that's just his name. And that's a legit question.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what are you talking about foxes for?
Exactly.
Like the fox shifters that snuggle?
Oh.
What? Never mind. We can't
Uncle
talk.
Jake?
We can't talk about that. Rachel said we couldn't do that one today.
We're not talking about that one
The
today.
penguins again.
I mean, the puppies.
Okay, one of my notes here is about puppies.
I don't even understand. Oh, because they adopt the puppies.
Who adopts the puppies?
Hades and Persephone.
So
No.
Hades treats her like his queen,
as he
as
should.
he should, and
Why?
he takes her around the lower
is a
city.
queen.
He takes her around the lower city on a number of occasions, kind of like touring it to kind of see what it's about and how, like, you know, from the outside it looks like it's dilapidated and like people live there are living in slums and stuff, but realistically they're all kind of hiding what's going on in the outside.
Because Zeus is a dick and they don't want Zeus to know that they're prospering.
Correct.
Right, and they don't want like rent getting jacked up and shit like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And even at one point, Demeter actually cuts off
Oh,
Hades.
yeah.
She cuts off the lower world from supplies because she controls the supply chain.
Yeah. See, it's funny because I keep getting, like, as you're talking about it, I'm getting Neon Gods and Touch of Darkness books mixed up because there's a lot of, like, crossover stuff.
There is, yeah.
Minus the horns. This one, they don't have horns.
They don't have horns in this one.
And there's no rivets.
Shall have rivets.
No rivets.
Oh, throwback.
And now we will recite The Merchant of Venice.
Oh, my ducats. Oh, my daughter. Oh, my ducats.
Affections, passions. If you prick us, shall we not bleed? And if we wrong us, shall we not revenge?
Hath not a Jew eye?
So Hades takes her around to all of the places in the underworld. There's a bunch of shops and services. He gets her an entire wardrobe.
This is kind of like the point in Grumpy Sunshine when you realize that Grumpy is not so grumpy, and like you're seeing the softer side of the harder character, which is always a delight in those kinds of
And he's
dynamics.
and after because she hurts her feet when she's crossing the bridge, and he wraps her feet and like takes care of them, pulls out glasses and stuff like this, and like disinfects them. And then as they're walking around, he's very cognizant of like how her feet are.
Oh,
And he's
like
paying-
walking slowly and stuff?
Yeah, legitimately.
That's
And like
super
checking in on her,
cute.
making sure she's wearing the proper shoes and she's comfortable, and it's freaking adorable.
He loves her without knowing that he loves her.
Yeah, 100%. But it's also like it's almost that daddy energy too, where it's like he's doming her, but he's also looking after her in every way.
Yeah, like Fairy Daddy.
Yeah. like Fairy Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway.
That's
We're talking about that
That's
later. That's the penguin book. Ashton's on her fucking shit again. Okay, so after one of the many tours they're taking,
Puppies.
they come across a pet store. And Persephone insists on going into this pet store, obviously. And in the back of the pet store, they have a box of 3 puppies.
A box?
Yeah, I know. It's
Well,
one
like,
of those,
so-
like, why are there puppies at this pet store?
Well, so somebody dropped them off or
Yeah.
like or abandoned them basically by the river.
Oh, right.
So they're not like puppy mill puppies, like don't shop, adopt.
That's a big part of this story, actually.
Really?
The puppy mill puppies.
Oh
yeah.
my god! Does it tie in with 101 Dalmatians?
Yes, actually.
Ashton,
Hades wants to make a coat.
Is she just
Ash?
fucking with me?
could you stop fucking with Jack real quick?
No.
Wait, now you're bringing the Simpsons into it?
What?
Oh no, wait. I forgot about Cruella de Vil. Never mind.
See my
Loafers, former gophers. It was that, or skin my chauffeurs, but a greyhound for tuxedo would be best. So let's prepare these dogs. Kill 2 for matching cloaks. You don't know that episode?
I don't like The Simpsons.
Oh, you should. I feel like
I love how that's where your brain went ahead of Cruella de Vil when you were the one that brought up 101 Dalmatians.
shut up.
Don't call me out like that.
welcome to the Queen of Spice podcast. Call it hour. We're calling out Ashton and Jacqueline.
I mean, when are we not calling out Ashton? It's always like, Ashton's a furry. Ashton and fuck werewolves. Ashton loves Adam Driver. Meh.
Happy birthday, Adam Driver.
Oh, yeah.
It's Adam Driver's birthday
It
today.
is Adam
As
Driver's birthday.
we're recording this.
Yes. In
Yes.
fairness, this comes out in December.
So puppies happened in this book because
3 abandoned puppies in a box
Correct.
at the back of a pet store.
which is admittedly more like Oliver and Company than it is like 101 Dalmatians. With the cat and the dog and Dodger. Oh,
Never seen that.
okay.
What?
Never mind. So they get the puppies, and he's all softy
Okay,
for the puppies.
so They've been trying to
Thomas O'Malley. O'Malley the alley cat.
get rails. So the puppies in the back.
Are there puppies?
There's puppies. And the gal working is like family friend, like Hades donates to their cause, I believe, or he helps them out.
He's just a really swell guy.
He knows like most of the business owners by name, which is like kind of a weird thing because Zeus sure as shit doesn't know any of the business owners in Olympus, for example.
He's just a good guy.
He's just a good dude. And so Hades knows the lady that owns it, and she's been trying to like, convince him to get dogs or get a dog because he's so lonely up there in his big house.
Oh, Cerberus.
So-
I forgot about that.
So
The 3-headed dog in the underworld.
Right.
yeah, but now this is just 3 dogs.
No, so it's not just 3 dogs.
Yeah,
But so they're not connected.
no, just normal dogs. Are you disappointed?
A little.
So this is just 3 normal dogs. They all have 1 head each.
And the rest of the body as well.
Yeah, they also have normal bodies.
Okay.
They're just, dogs. That
Yeah,
look
they're
like
they're just dogs. They're black, I believe.
Probably Cerberus.
Sure.
I
and
picture them like labs. Is that right?
I think they're mutts in this case.
I always pictured his dogs to be like
Doberman Pinschers.
Pinsers. Or like Rottweiler type dogs.
Yeah.
Ooh, really?
Well, he's a big, like, murr, I'm a tough guy.
Dude, he has blue hair. You have blue hair.
I do.
Okay, so I'm assuming that he gets a dog because we've said puppies 9 times. He gets all 3 dogs
Okay.
and then he
Hold
connects
on.
them together?
Yeah, it's a human centipede situation.
They're dogs, though.
Okay. So there are 3 puppies. And he's like, I will take 1 puppy. And then Persephone's like, but the others will be sad. So then he takes 3 puppies. Yeah, so they take 3 puppies home. They make a room for the puppies in the mansion. And there's a puppy room in the mansion.
But it's not connected to the sex dungeon.
No.
Just checking. I don't know.
So I will
You
say,
guys read crazy books.
how can we get this back on track? Okay. Okay, so we have the dogs. We've got the room with the dogs. Persephone's told the council to go fuck themselves. Okay, so her sister,
Eurydice.
she is basically used as a pawn for Zeus to lure Persephone back across the river.
Yes.
because he's still adamant that he's going to marry this chick.
But they do end up chasing her across the river, don't they?
They
She
do.
gets hurt, and
That's
that's
right.
a whole thing.
Yes, they tried to. Well, they tried to go after her with a knife, basically.
Yeah.
And so she gets like chased across the river as well after like, cause she was the muse for I can't remember his name, some guy who's like so flaky.
His name starts with an O, I think.
Otto von Bismarck.
nailed it first try.
Whoop whoop.
Clearly.
Wait, so she gets chased.
Her sister, yeah. Her
She
younger
gets
sister.
she
Orpheus.
gets chased to the underworld.
Yeah, so basically almost the same thing happens as what happened to Persephone, where like these bad dudes kind of chase her across the river. She was supposed to go meet her boyfriend at the time,
Orpheus.
Orpheus.
And he flaked on her.
He flaked on her, which, you know, like this was a setup, obviously. And so she gets, you know, lured across the river as well, which they were kind of anticipating for Persephone to kind of intervene or like come back across the river and get captured and,
Right,
you know, like
because she
delivered into
has
Zeus's
to-
arms, basically.
To save her sister or whatever.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. Okay.
And they end up like almost breaking the treaty by doing that. Because, I mean, this whole treaty business is contingent on Hades staying in the lower city and Zeus staying in the upper city. Is basically what it comes down to. And
Because they big man.
yeah, because they big
And then
men.
he'd be separated.
They need to go to their rooms.
But so the treaty's somehow still in effect, even though Zeus thinks that Hades does no longer exist.
Zeus knows Hades is alive.
Oh yeah. So
The whole
and
time?
this is the thing. Everyone is in on this joke. Like it's a weird thing that like everyone in the upper echelon knows that Hades exists, and knows that he's around.
Or wait, does Zeus know?
Yeah, of course he does. He knows everything.
Oh, I thought he just got his dick wet a lot.
He does.
Ew, I feel like he's like a really old man.
He is. I think he's in his 60s.
And I feel like Persephone's like
No.
19.
Yeah, he is.
I thought he was in his like 50s.
No, I'm pretty sure he's like up in his 60s or almost like
He's not that old.
he is. He is that old. I swear to G.
Just like you swore to G that there was two same-sex centers.
Same-sex centers.
I don't trust you no more.
Fair. Yeah, because when you think about it, when Zeus came into power, he was in his 20s, and he killed Hades' parents when they were like he would have been in his 30s because Hades right now is in his 30s.
Oh, right, because Hades is one of the youngest.
He's one of the younger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, right. What happens? Because he ends up in the upper city and like goes after Zeus.
Okay. So there's a bunch of politicking back and forth. There's a bunch of deals made because like Persephone ends up making a deal with Demeter.
Oh, right.
To like
She's the one that goes.
Yes, Persephone's the one that goes, and
He's all mad.
he's mad.
Hades mad.
And gosh, it's such a shit show. Like she basically gets delivered into Zeus's hands. Like
She delivers herself into
well,
Zeus's
yes and no,
hands.
because like
She did it on
Hermes ends up bringing her back as part of the deal to her mother.
Is he the one that wears the flying sandals?
Hermes is a woman in this
Yes.
one,
But yes.
Okay, that's
Fe-
Hermes.
I don't know if I think
Femme presenting.
Femme presenting. That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
They do refer to her as she.
Okay.
She uses she/her pronouns.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Right. So basically, all the politicking and all the deals go on behind the scenes, and Hermes ends up delivering Persephone to the tower, Zeus's tower, during a party, and there's like a big to do, and there's, you know, the pictures are out on the tabloids, which is always a big thing.
Oh yeah, right.
Of Zeus and Persephone together, and then like Hades gets wind of that the next day because she like made this deal behind his back and didn't tell him and just left, and
Yeah.
it was a whole. There's a lot of good intentions happening.
And then there's murder.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
Accidental murder. I mean, he wasn't gonna, and then he did by accident.
yeah, so like basically after the whole thing comes out in the tabloids or the papers that Persephone is going to marry Zeus, it's going to go ahead. Hades just like rolls up to the tower where Zeus is working in the morning quietly.
His hair goes whoosh.
His hair turns blue and goes on fire.
I think when he gets mad, his hair turns red.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, that sounds true. That sounds right. It's been a minute since I've watched that movie.
I thought Rachel's like, yeah, that's how that happened. I
Yeah.
can't remember last time.
No, I
watched
think
it.
I remember seeing pictures of that. That's a thing.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he rolls up.
So and this is interesting because this is another kind of magic-y kind of thing that they allude to in the book of like Hades kind of tiptoes around quietly in the shadows and no one really sees him, and he kind of has that going for him.
Well, it's just like Hermes and her ability to like
like,
recite
yeah.
verbatim what the message was in the voice of the person.
And to get into anywhere.
It's like a howler and a Alohomora.
Oh, and Alohomora.
Yeah.
I was like, how are the two of those things related other than the fact that they're Harry Potter?
Unlocking howlers.
I have to unlock the howler.
Thank goodness. Ugh, no one wants that. So
Hades.
Hades makes his way up the tower. He infiltrates Zeus' office. Zeus is railing some secretary or something in the bathroom, of course.
I don't think it's the next day. I think it's after the party, because I don't even think they've gone in. Like, I don't think he's even gone home, because he was supposed to marry Persephone, and then he just goes to his office and rails the chick.
It's the next day, because it's early in the morning.
Uh,
Because it's early in the morning, I think, before most stuff opens, because
That's
that's
what I
why
thought.
nobody knows what's going on.
And then everybody shows up afterwards.
Yeah, so anyway, they end a scuffle, and Hades does bring a gun with him to dispose of Zeus. That's his intent. But then he kind of like gets cold feet about it, and he's like, no, you know what? That's not what he deserves. Like, I can't kill someone. I can't be like that. I can't be like what you did to my parents, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, but in the scuffle, it ends up being that someone shoots out a window, and Zeus like misses Hades and like flies out the window and basically takes a swan dive down like 40 stories.
Like Mufasa when Scar threw him down the hill with the antelopes.
That's true.
Scar.
I want to say that Hades did try to save him. Like he did. I believe in the book he did try his best to actually like save him.
Simba trying to save Scar after they got into a fight.
That's closer to the truth, I would say.
Only one's
It's
lions.
a better analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, except one's Batman.
Okay, yep. Yeah, and then doesn't Demeter
She's not asking questions about Batman anymore.
doesn't Demeter show up and she's like, okay, I'll fix this.
Yes. So Demeter, this is the thing about Demeter in this book and in all the books going forward that you need to know, is that she is like Mrs. Politician. She is like pulling strings in the background. She is making shit happen. She has deals with everyone all over town, and everyone's in her pocket.
Yeah, because she arranges the marriage between Callisto and the new Zeus, who is Perseus.
Don't quote me on that.
I'm pretty sure it's Perseus, because I keep thinking Percy Jackson.
Close. There's a lot of name drops in this episode.
Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Lovely.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's basically the summation of that. We do, however, need Jacqueline to read something.
Oh,
You thought you were off the hook, didn't you?
I did. I totally forgot.
We got to the end of the book even, and you're like, this is over. I don't have to do anything.
I did. I thought we were gonna wrap it up and pick like how many flaming locks of hair out of 12 we wanted to give it or something. Flaming locks of hair. Can I just like verify?
Go on.
So like when Persephone left the underworld, was she just pretending like things were over with Hades and she was gonna like go be with Zeus like to protect their relationship or something? Like she actually had no intention of marrying him?
Yeah, so basically what was coming to pass is that Zeus was ready to wage war against the underworld.
Right.
And steps were being taken that like Demeter had cut off supplies to the underworld, and there was like they were trying to get all the 13 on Hades' side in order to go against Zeus, basically, because the only way they could break the treaty or kind of configure the treaty in general was to have the council on their side to do that. So there's a bunch of politicking in the background that went on here, and like they were basically getting people to like side with Hades over Zeus. And so like Demeter was one of the on the fence kind of people that has a lot of sway to bring all of these people over to Hades' side. But in order to do that, she needed to make a deal with she made a deal with Persephone.
They wanted to force her hand.
Yes. But this has nothing to do with that. So what we're going to get you to read is it's that first night after the first sex dungeon night. Persephone wants to fucking rail Hades, as you can imagine.
All right. Do I get a shot?
No.
Fuck. I stare down my body as Hades wraps a fist around his cock and angles it down to drag the blunt head over my clit. It feels dirty and a little bit wrong, and I never want it to stop. Gods! How is this hotter than some of the sex I've had? Is it purely because it's him? I don't have an answer. Not now. Maybe not ever. He waits a beat and then strokes me again, circling my clit just like I did with my fingers earlier. I hold my breath, willing him to do more. It's as if Hades draws the thought right out of my head, because he drags his cock down, wetting himself with my desire. Wicked. This is so beyond wicked. It's on the tip of my tongue to beg him to fuck me now, but I bite the words back. No matter how delirious pleasure makes me, I'm still aware enough to know that I've pushed him to his limit tonight. If I try for more, there's every chance he'll push back. That he'll stop the decadent motion of his cock through my folds, down, and then up to circle my clit, and then back down. He tenses as he presses to my entrance, but I don't have a chance to throw caution to the wind before he speaks. Hands above your head. I don't hesitate. He's not going to leave me hanging tonight. Despite what he seems to think, I am capable of obedience when properly motivated. The look he gives me says he's noted how quickly I stop arguing now that I'm getting what I want. He shifts forward to press my body hard against the mattress, his solid weight pinning me in place. And then he shifts his hips, and the whole length of his cock is suddenly rubbing against my clit with each slow thrust. So careful. He's so fucking careful with me, even now, holding me down but ensuring his weight doesn't drive the breath from my lungs. I could have told him it's a lost cause. Pleasure has already accomplished that. I'm gasping out each exhale, fighting to hold still, to obey, to not do anything that might cause him to stop. His slow movements have his clothing sliding against my bare skin. He's wearing clothes still? Jesus.
Yeah, so that's the point.
Okay.
That's another thing that's super hot when they're clothed and she's not. He's clothed, she's not. Yeah, delicious.
Fair. In this moment, I'd give my right lung to have him as naked as I am. I expect him to kiss me, but he kisses along my jaw to nip my earlobe. See how good it feels to obey, little Persephone? Another long drag of his length against my clit. Do as I ask tomorrow, and I'll let you have my cock. Aw,
Little
so
bird.
Sweet little bird. My thoughts scatter, shooting in 1,000 different directions. Promise? I promise. He picks up his pace the tiniest bit. My toes curl, and I can't help arching into him. Hades hooks one arm under my thigh and spreads me up and further out. The smallest shift and he'll be inside me. I want it so desperately, I'm in danger of begging. My body doesn't give me a chance to. I orgasm hard, every muscle clenching and my toes curling. Hades keeps moving, drawing it out, and then he jerks back and comes across my stomach. I stare dazedly down at the liquid marking my skin and have the absurd desire to run my fingers through it. While I'm still recovering, Hades fixes his clothing and sits back on his heels. The way he watches me. We haven't even had sex yet, and this man looks at me like he wants to keep me. It should be enough to send me running, but I can't quite work up the energy to be concerned. We have our deal. I don't know why I'm so sure, but I know Hades won't break his word. At the end of this, he'll ensure I get out of Olympus unscathed.
My favorite part is how she read that like she was reading something in grade 9 English class.
Like where you read ahead so you make sure you know how to pronounce all the words when it's your turn to read.
So, we're gonna rate this book. I think we should rate it out of puppies.
I was just gonna say puppies.
And we should rate it out of 3 puppies. For clarification purposes, all these puppies have one head and one body and one tail and one set of feet and one everything. They're just one puppy. There's 3 of them in total.
One entire puppy.
You cannot have half puppies.
Oh my god.
Like
what?
cat dog.
Can you have like A puppy with its tail cut off by accident.
No.
What about
Only whole
three-legged
puppies.
Oh,
Ooh,
tripod.
I'll take a 3-legged dog. I'll allow it.
What about the when you said because it's like a Doberman or something? Maybe they got its tail docked and its ears
Oh,
clipped.
that's cruel. We don't do that.
Well, they
That-
might in the fucking
that also-
underworld.
That also doesn't make it half a dog.
So
It's-
that's the funny thing about this, which we kind of whatever. The underworld is actually like the nice, friendly, lovely place, and the upper world is actually like the bad, cold, sad place. And so it's like kind of the opposite of what it looks like on paper.
Oh yeah, it's like Dartmouth and Halifax. Dartmouth is like deemed to be the bad place, but really you go there and there's all kinds of delicious food and
it's
the
where certain people live.
the sidewalk is weird, but not the sidewalk, the crosswalks are weird.
And geese get in people's cars.
Listen, you do not fuck with the Sullivan's Pond geese. You
Or
just don't do
Canada
it.
geese in general.
No, you just don't do it. It's just not done. You
Or
let those
even just geese from Canada.
Yeah, you don't fuck with cobra chickens. We don't
Or,
do that.
yeah, geese suck in general, I guess, yeah.
So out of 3
Puppies. Whole puppies.
whole puppies, or well, they can be missing a limb potentially.
Or they could have their tail docked and ears clipped.
These are mutts, so they're all or nothing minus paws.
Your tail can totally be like cut off by accident, just like your leg.
Okay, is this pertinent to the judging process?
It is not.
Okay, whole puppies.
Whole puppies minus a paw, if necessary.
Or tail.
I'm rating it 2 puppies, three puppies, but one is missing one leg. So 3.75 puppies.
I have to rate it a full 3 because I just don't want to do that to a puppy.
Yeah, fair. That's
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm saying rated 3, which we think okay, well it's not perfect obviously, but like it did what it meant to do. So it gets 3 whole puppies.
Mm-hmm. Jack, how did you feel about that?
That's very deep, Ashton.
It did what it
And
meant to do.
I don't believe that whole garbage about like nothing's perfect and so I can't give you 100% on this test.
We're not in high school. You can do whatever you want.
If I got the damn questions right, you can give me 100%. Yay.
How many puppies, Jacqueline?
Oh, right, puppies. Okay, so I'm going to give it, I feel like I'm kind of interested in this Hades flaming blue hair version, which obviously I will see if I ever read this book, and which I did see as he was dragging his penis around her underworld. Pun intended.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it like, okay, so not 3 full puppies. The first puppy lost its eye in an accident. It was
Jesus.
quite sad.
I'm sad.
It also lost part of its leg, but just at like the knee. So it's fine. You can't really call it tripod, but the second puppy is fully intact, except for his balls because he was fixed.
I don't think you're classified as a puppy anymore if you. Anyway,
you're
semantics.
still a puppy. It's just
You're
you've
just
been-
not a man.
You've been
anymore.
desexed.
That's not true. You can be a man and not have balls. I'm cool with the trans community.
My brain automatically went to eunuchs.
Listening voices of French.
UNICEF, like the little boxes that we had to carry around at Halloween.
Eunuchs.
The third puppy is a female. A girl's pregnant. She's got 2 puppies inside.
So that's 5 puppies.
5 puppies out of 3, except for half a leg and an eye and balls.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the very detailed diatribe.
You're welcome.
I don't even know what to do with that.
I want to read this book maybe.
Yeah.
Although there is a lot of names in there. Woo.
Yeah. So the thing about this book is that it is a world building book. So it's the first one of a series that's going to be like continuing for a while. I think.
Yeah, I was literally just on her website and there was like 9. I think she's got.
Yeah, and fair. And I can't wait to read every single one of them.
So there's been 3 you've read so far, and you loved all of them.
10.
You like the second one the most?
Yeah, I don't want to pick a favorite, but I mean, here's the thing: the second book about Psyche and Eros. Psyche is like a plus size Instagram model, basically,
But they don't. Yeah,
and I love her.
listen. I've been ranting about this aspect to everybody who will listen to me. I love that Psyche is smart and like she's not just smart, but she's like savvy, and she's plus size, and you see it through the eyes of other people and how they react to her, but it's not fetishized. So you're not getting this like fat phobic dribble. You're getting a character who's
no. Eros genuinely wants to rail the shit out of
yeah.
her.
At one point, he's like, "I'll just buy you a whole new wardrobe." And she's like, "No, you don't understand how difficult it is for me to find a wardrobe to fit. Like, no, I have to go and get my things." But he is wife guy energy, and 100%. He just wants to do whatever he can to make her happy.
Yeah, he is all about. Oh my god, there's a scene where he like fucks her in front of a bunch of mirrors.
I honestly, when I read that, I was worried that they were gonna start going down the same road as Hades and Persephone. I was like, no, not again. But
it was hot as fuck.
Yes,
I love that book so much.
I also love we can't have sex because I can't have sex with people unless I'm like emotionally attached, without getting emotionally attached or something like that. And then all of a sudden she's like, I just need to get sex real hard.
It's an
and she
book.
never got emotionally attached.
No.
The end.
And everybody went their separate ways.
Well, and he was supposed to kill her, and it was a whole thing.
Oh,
like,
listen, there's so many good things about that book.
It's a great book. Definitely read that one. It's the second one in
Yeah.
the series, but
And like I said, the third one, who knew?
Well, don't talk too much about them. What if we have to do them in season 12?
Well,
we need. Okay, I will say this: we've covered now 2 Katee Robert books out of what are we on episode? This is episode 9, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yes.
episode 9. And like so 2 of those have been Katee Robert books, and I love Katee Robert so much.
And that Rachel's like, we can't do the same author several times
I know,
unless it's Katee Robert.
unless it's Katee Robert.
Well, she's our patron. I can't say that word ever. Patron saint of smut. Spice. Sorry.
Nailed it. Well, on that note, thank you guys for joining me today on the Queens of Spice podcast.
Thanks, Uncle Jake.
I have some housekeeping things we have to cover first.
Ooh, happy birthday, Adam Driver.
1, happy birthday, Adam Driver. Number 2, our next episode is a holiday episode. And I had a wonderful suggestion from our friend Jessie.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Jessie.
Thanks for loving us, Jessie.
So Jessie is on the Canadian Politics is Boring podcast.
I mean, I agree, Jessie, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, nailed it. Jessie suggested that we tell people what book we're reading next. And I thought that was a wonderful suggestion. So next week...
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Then they could read it and listen after.
Nailed it. So that's like a kind of a spicy book club.
Oh my God. Thank you, Jessie.
So the next book we're reading...
Welcome to our depravity.
I feel stupid for not having thought of that before.
So,
I mean, to be fair, we're mostly drunk, so.
To be fair, it's Rachel's job to do the thinking also.
And it's call it hour again on the Queens of Spice podcast. No, so next week we are going to read A Very Bossy Christmas to celebrate the holidays.
Yes.
And I hope you go ahead and read it's on Kindle Unlimited.
Honestly, guys, if you want Hallmark movie style books with smut and a gratuitous use of dirty holiday puns, highly recommend it.
Whoa. Hey, who wrote this bossy Christmas lady smutty book?
Kaylee Loring.
And that's available on Kindle Unlimited if you want to give it a read. Thank you for joining us on the Queen of Spice podcast. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. Or if you want to send us an email, you can reach us at queensofspice@gmail.com.